Alright, today's video we're going to talk about some of the cool stuff that was in the reveal trailer, as well as they actually talked about the future stuff past this year. So some people seem to have missed that. I think a lot of people did. So we're going to talk about it, which is also cool. We'll start with that. So if you listen here in a second.
Kicks off with the Fate Saga, and with it, humanity is now set on a collision course with
So here, as we see, it says the Edge of Fate launches July 15th, which we already know. But if you actually watch this, you actually end up seeing a lot more.
Been here for
So wait for it.
A very long time. And so the Edge of Fate launches on July 15th. And then the second expansion of our Year of Prophecy is Renegade, which comes this winter.
Which we knew about already.
In 2026, we've got Shattered Cycle and The Alchemist. It's a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
A lot of exciting beats. And so, again, the Edge of Fate is just the beginning.
Alright, so yeah, so we actually get to see next year's DLC as well, which this you don't buy right now. This isn't a future thing. But we have Shattered Cycle and The Alchemist, so we do have stuff for the future. So that's kind of cool, just a little cool thing that happened during the reveal. A lot of people, I think, didn't realize was happening. But, yeah, a tiny little detail that's actually kind of cool. And I like that. They give us a little bit of a heads up of the next year reset, what it's going to offer. For at least they're probably code names. I doubt they're the actual names. But they might keep the actual names that. I don't know. We'll see. But we do get a little tease into that, which I've not seen anyone really talk about. So there's something cool. Obviously, the Edge of Fate and Renegades is the current one that's going on. Those are the two you buy currently. These two, the Shattered Cycle and the Alchemist, they are separate. But yeah, it's something a little cool to show. Now we're going to actually go over the trailer. We've got it muted right now, but there's some cool things in it that we will talk about. We're going to slow it down, playback speed, so that way we can show things off. As a whole, I've given my opinion on this, but there is some cool stuff in here from the trailer alone. Again, they did not really talk about anything practically other than all the free stuff. They did not talk at all about a lot of stuff going on. And the TWID today confirmed they still haven't set in stone a lot of stuff. So, unfortunately, there's a lot missing. So we got a look of the armor right here for the planet from the back end, which looks okay. It's not bad. We've got some sort of rail system here. It looks like plants are growing or fungi or something's growing back there. It kind of reminds me of the reef. The rails and the reef and the stuff, everything to do with reef, so I don't know what that's about. We got a fallen catch or whatever. Looks like crashed, or it looks like it crashed because it looks like a mountain, so. This is a better look at the new fallen type we have. They're flying soldiers. I don't know what they called. They never said their name, I don't believe. They might have, but I don't believe they said their names. Someone correct me if I'm wrong there. But now they have jetpacks, which is honestly dope. I'll give it to them. That's really cool. But the odds are every fallen ad will eventually get this treatment, so it's not going to be very unique to the planet for very long. But it will be cool. I will give it to that. It is cool. We get a better look at the... Actually, we get a better look as a hand cannon here, too. I forgot to point this out. I don't believe the Fallen have hand cannons yet. I don't think I've ever seen a Fallen with a hand cannon. They have shotguns and stuff, but I don't think they have hand cannons. So the Fallen are now getting a hand cannon, which actually looks dope as fuck. And I would love that as an actual hand cannon game as an exotic. That would look sick. So Bungie should, maybe one day, maybe. Let's see, what else we got? We've got a look here. This is a hand cannon, I believe. Or at least I assume it's the hand cannon, because there is an exotic hand cannon that we do see in this trailer, and it has to be exotic, but we'll go over it. We got Strand or some sort of... I don't know if it's supposed to be Strand or Dark Matter effects. I assume Strand. This kind of looks like a new weapon for the Fallen as well. The Fallen seem to have gotten a lot better stuff than we did, just saying. I don't support the ability stuff. We got another look at here. It looks like a sidearm, probably. It looks like it's either a sidearm or a hand cannon. It's very hard to see because it's very bright. We're doing frame by frame here. It looks like it might be Strand because there's a little green glowing there, but at the same time that could just be the effect of the gun itself or the lighting, so it's hard to tell. I don't know if this is an exotic or a legendary hand cannon. It does look cool though, but usually they don't showcase... they show weapons like normal legendary weapons, but they don't let them focus it. They like put them in the background or for a split second or something. So this could be legendary, this could be exotic. It's very 50-50 on the front. If we actually saw it shooting and what it could do, then we'd probably figure it out pretty quickly. We got the train scene, which no clue what this is about, but we do got the Titan armor we can look at better. This arm looks insane. This back looks insane. The mark is kind of meh. But if this shaders really well, this armor set will look really cool for the chest piece, at least on the backside, and so will the arms. So I'm actually kind of liking that. We got the new enemy type of the Vex, which are actually really cool. They kind of look old, though. if that makes any sense. I don't know if these are like the next evolution of warrior types for the Vex, or these guys are the actual ones that have been building the constructs and stuff for the Vex, because we've never seen them be built. So this might be the ones that actually build that stuff. So lore-wise, that could be really cool because they look like worker robots. They look like builder robots, like you see in other movies and stuff. We've seen they look very similar to the same concept. They also look really old. I believe from what Bungie was saying is they're saying the past for some places and the future from some places, or mixing because the nine are technically dimensional beings, so they're not. To them, the past and the present are basically the same, to some aspects. Whereas for us, it's obviously the past and the future. So this might be maybe the first Vex that ever set foot in our system that have just been pushed to the future in our case. They evolved and stuff and changed. I don't know. I don't think that because the Vex are very set on what comes through. I mean, even the lore states the things that we first saw, at least the ones that we know about. So I think these are either the working class that we've never seen, because the Vex we see are scientists, not really builders technically. And from what I gather, the Vex they each have their own classification. So I feel like these might be the builder Vex, or these could be a new type of attack drone. This could be another wave of the attack. Wyverns were stage 1, this is stage 2. But at the same time, the Wyverns are way more menacing looking than these. So there's a lot of curiosity here, and this has actually got me intrigued. I love the Vex. Vex are one of my favorite things. The Vex and the Taken were my favorite races. They're just insanely cool lore-wise and insanely awesome. So, as a whole, kind of excited for this. For that at least, because that does look really cool. We'll play it out a little bit. As you see, they look older though. Like, so we have the Vex, they're shiny, and these guys are really old. That's why I think they might be from the past, or just different class. I don't know. All right, so a lot of people were saying this and thinking this was an exotic. I'm gonna tell you right now, this is a Scorch Cannon, but a different version of a Scorch Cannon. It's something new. It's cool. As you can see, it looks cool. It seems to shoot some sort of arc beam or arc ball or something that bounces around. But this is not going to be a weapon you hold. This is going to be a relic or something that you pick up off the ground, just like a Scorch Cannon or a Scythe or anything else. And yeah. So, it's cool. But it's probably going to be used once or twice and you'll never see it again, knowing Bungie. So, unfortunate because it has probably the coolest looking Scorch Cannon I've ever seen. So, we'll see. But as you see, it does bounce a lot, which is really cool, honestly. I assume this will probably be a raid mechanic in one form or another. It seems to be very Fallen themed, so the raid's probably going to be Fallen themed. It does show off the abilities a bit. Or that's a teleport in this case. So we do see something interesting with this weapon. So we see there, it kills the thing. It looks like an auto or something. It has some sort of effect right there. Boy, if you look, he shoots one bullet at this ad, and it does something weird. I don't know. I don't know what that's about. I don't know. I might be tripping, but I swear the bullet looks different. Everything about it looks different, but I don't know. Then we see the super. We already know about this super. It's the super we've had it forever. Well, not forever, but we got for Lightfall, or Final Shape. Sorry, Final Shape super. So it's cool, but who even uses that in PvE, honestly? The thing needs a massive buff to be useful in PvE. Alright, now we got the coolest thing in this, and this is the one thing that is absolutely what's pulling my interest completely. Everything else is meh. It's cool, there's some cool stuff, but it's not that, like, oh, I want to buy it. This fucking gun alone has got my interest. So this is interesting. So as we see, it is a hand cannon. It seems to be, or at least appears to be a hand cannon. It could be something else knowing Bungie, but it appears to be a hand cannon. If you pay attention, it shoots arc, causes an arc explosion like Dragonfly, which is cool. It's pretty simple, but has a whole bunch of effects, so it definitely seems to be an exotic. And then it turns into a stasis sidearm. Or it's cryesthesia, so it might still be a hand cannon technically, but it looks like cryesthesia, so that's interesting. So then it shatters and it kills a whole bunch of ads, which is even crazier because it doesn't just freeze; it destroys everything. But then, if you pay attention here, it looks like a cold snap it creates, or a what would it be called? A Seeker from Warlocks, the Warlock Seekers. It looks like it creates one of those, which then this creates crystals. Though this could be an artifact mod, we don't know. Bungie is like that sometimes. They do show sometimes artifact mods in the game. You just don't know it until you actually see it later. So this could be some sort of stasis artifact mod. Or we might be really getting a new stasis fragment or aspect or something. They just didn't talk about it at all for some reason. Because they talk about dark matter and stuff, and they talk about this and that. You'd think they would add new fragments at the very least to some of the classes. They're not going to add brand new abilities. I'm just saying. It's very, very sad there. But anyways, this is the positive thing, so we're sticking to this. But as a whole, this thing is crazy. Not only does it arc, I don't see it jolting though. It does cause a a big explosion of arc, which is cool, but I don't actually see a jolt. It does seem to create a lightning bolt, but that could be bolt charge. That's kind of the problem. So he gets a kill, then it causes like a lightning bolt effect, and then everything dies around it. It's a little delayed, but that's what's happening. So I don't know if it's the lightning causing it, or if the lightning is like bolt charge, and that's nothing fancy. Then it's just an arcane can that causes Dragonfly with arc. But then it does a fuck ton of damage to that servitor. But again, it's hard to tell that servitor's one tap or not, because Bungie does do that in trailers too. Some weapons will one tap some, but that some was already one tap. But it does see it creates another lightning bolt. It looks hectic. So I don't know if this is bolt charge, so some sort of bolt charge mode that just causes constant bolt charges when you kill stuff or hit stuff, which would be kind of cool. A better bolt charge you could use on any character. So it'd be like the Titan's shield, but on the hand cannon itself, so that'd be kind of cool. It is very bulky though, as we can see. But then they seem to do a little bit of an action there, that little action right there. That is, it's switching either elements or switching to its mode because it gets enough kills. It does switch elements, obviously, but it switches to stasis then. I don't know. But it seems to be, as we see, he shoots this guy. It's a normal shot. It kills him instantly because he's a low-tier ad. But then it explodes, like, which is weird because these ads weren't there, so this is two different shots, it looks like, because these ads weren't that close to it. So these are two different shots that they just tied together. But it appears it's causing some sort of explosion of stasis that's really big. I don't know if that's just because of his artifacts or because of his mods or his fragments or whatever on his weapon, or not his weapon, sorry, his subclass. I'm not really sure, but it's kind of interesting. It is interesting. But this is technically the first. The Seeker is what's really interesting, though, about it. But technically, this is the first prismatic weapon that is a primary, because the only one prior to this was the conditional finality, which was a shotgun, which was solar and stasis. But it was a bit weird. It was cool, but it's kind of like, it's not really technically prismatic, but this feels more like it would be something considered prismatic in a sense, because it's two elements and you seem to be able to activate them pretty easily, whereas the shotgun, it was just switching element back and forth for the shots themselves. If you could actually change the element, it'd be better. And this actually appears you can change the element on a whim. So, or it might be a bar you have to charge up, and different, maybe like you have to use the arc to charge the arc ball to cause a whole bunch of bolt charge, or you can charge up the solar one, or the stasis one, and make stasis effects. I don't know, obviously, we have nothing about it. We've got no info on exotics of any sort. Only thing we got is No Land Beyond. They talked about no exotics, which is the first time ever they've done that. They've always talked about at least one or two exotic weapons, even slightly, and usually talk about an armor piece or two. Or at least admit there'll be new exotic armors, which they have not said anything about that. So I don't know what the fuck we're getting. Because they've said nothing. And that's one of the reasons why I was very angry about it, and I said it was the worst reveal, and a lot of people didn't realize that. But again, we're looking at positive right now, so we're not going to get into the rant again. But yeah, so as a whole, it's pretty interesting. We do have an interesting thing happening here. We got a whole bunch of fungi growing on the container from the Fallen, which I thought those type of containers were the containers from the Prison of Elders, so it's very weird. I hope this ain't Skolas. Watch Bungie bring Skolas back again. We do get another look at the Jetpack Fallen, which actually looks really cool. I do like these guys. They seem to have a hand cannon, which is really cool. I'd love that as an exotic. We'll probably never get one, but I've loved the Fallen-themed weapons, so. Then we get a little look at these things. They're so cool how they float. It's actually really cool. I'll give it to Bungie. It was really dope. Then we have these guys right here. That looks cool, but I have a problem with this. The Arc one does nothing. So either they have to give element effects to these weapons, or this is pointless. Because the what are they called? The Scions get the slow and strand effects based on what element they are. And then the Dread get the effects based on the element they are. And that's really cool. But these guys, the Fallen Spears, have never done anything. It's just arc damage. But it's not an effect. So the Strand ones, even though they look cool, if they don't actually do anything, they're kind of pointless, and Bungie just did it purely for looks, and I personally don't like that. If you're going to give it, even though the Strand and Stasis, Grim and Flippin' Scions or whatever are so fucking annoying sometimes, it gives it uniqueness to the game on a level that's actually fun and playable. Also annoying at times on harder end content, but on lower end stuff, it's kind of cool and unique. So if they don't actually give this an effect other than it just being Strand, I think this is stupid as fuck, and they really shouldn't have done it. But if they didn't, and it has an effect, that's awesome. But as a whole, it does look cool as fuck. So that's the positive. It does look cool as fuck. Just give my little extra opinions on it, but it is cool. So it's a little 50-50 there in that scenario. So we'll see how that turns out. So we have some sort of something here. I don't know if a lot of people noticed that, but what is that? It zooms in for a split second. You gotta like pause it perfectly. Oh, made a big screen. That's gonna look weird. It's fine. I don't know what that is. Is that a machine or is that a fallen? Is that a guardian? What is that? What is that? A crown or something? A fan? Like it's so trippy. What is that? He goes to shoot it, so okay, it's definitely a fallen behind some sort of strand thing. Is that a strand or a stasis? Sorry, stasis gun. Did the fallen get stasis weapons as well now? I'm so confused what that is. It's very weird, that's for sure. So I don't know what that is. That's something else entirely different. We got weird fallen here. They're glowing at extra green color heads. We got a Vex area that looks sick. And look at the back up here. I don't know what's going on up there. It looks like something's being built. Kind of reminds me of like sparks flying off something when you're building something, or lava or something. So I don't know what that is. And then we get a little look at the ball. Again, this is what I hate because it's purely on the planet. A lot of people are like, "Oh my God, it's cool! It's on the planet." It is cool. It's on the planet. The planets get this. The problem is they didn't give us anything for the actual abilities and stuff. Could you imagine a super like this? You go into Crucible. Would it be a pain to deal with? Yes, but would it be fun and make the abilities cooler? Yeah, 100%. It'd be better for the game as a whole. Bit broken, yes, but it would be fun and unique. So that's my problem. It's really just a relic. That's all this is. They called it abilities to hype it up and make the community excited for something. But in reality, it's really just an artifact relic. The relics that we get, like the scythe, the hammer, the flippin', whatever the other ones we've got, the spear for the one strike and stuff, that's all it is. It's purely useful for only one situation, and will never be used again. If any of you think this is crazy, good job. The problem is, I'm saying, again, we're trying to be positive. I'm telling you now, once you're done with this planet, which will happen at the longest within a month, if they actually do it the way they say. It should take, because Bungie loves time gate stuff, it should take like a month to get everything done if they time gate like they normally do. So, you're looking at a month of using this at most, and then you will never use it again. You will never go back to these planets. Once you hit Pinnacle Light, or Powerful Light, whatever they decide to do with the new light system, you're never going to use this again. Other than maybe if it's in a strike, or if it's in the raid. And that's it. I think this should have been a thing like Prismatic, where there's prismatic pools around the the Traveler. I think that's what it should have been like, is where this is an actual super, and then you could use it whenever you wanted if you found one of these machines lying about. So we could make it a raid mechanic and stuff too, and it'd be cool. But it's still super. That's my problem with this, is this is not an ability. This is a relic. You're transforming into the relic, but it's still just a relic. And it's bad advertising on Bungie's part. And some people will see that, and some people won't. So that was what I was trying to make out. I was just annoyed as fuck because it was really a bad stream as a whole because we got nothing. But as a whole, that's what I was talking about. Anyways, positivity though, it is cool. It does make it really cool because it makes your hitbox really small so you can fit into small holes. That's insanely cool. It also has arc protruding off it, so it's constantly zapping things. That's cool. I don't know what just happened there. Hold up. We're going to pay attention to that. But watch what happens with this gun this guy shoots. He shoots the ad with this gun, which is a different gun. I've never seen a gun like that. I don't know if that's an auto or a machine gun. But then look, it suspends the ad once it hits it. That's very interesting. Do we have some sort of suspend ability with autos now? Or is this an artifact mod again? We won't know. Could be something different. But it is kind of cool. It causes a suspend with shooting. So he was shooting and it's suspended. So that's something interesting. There is something either exotic done here or an artifact or something here. There's something extra here that people don't notice. So that's very intriguing to see what that's going to be. I see the arc things going underneath. That's really cool. It can do that. Like I said, I do like this. I just hate the way they're advertising it because it's technically false advertisement. But it's technically not either because you can't really define either way. But yeah. See, as we see here, it clears ads really cool. Like, it's just bursting with energy, clearing the ads. It's actually pretty cool. I just don't like the way they're advertising it and calling it an ability because it's not an ability. It is just a relic. That's just my opinion on it. Probably didn't explain that well yesterday, but fine. This is a rocket. This is probably exotic. The way it looks is just too clean not to be an exotic. But at the same time, it's hard to tell because it doesn't seem to do anything. It's Strand. We know that because of the shot. As you see here, that is definitely Strand. So from just looking at its strand, it looks exotic, but it doesn't do anything. That's what's weird. See, it hits him, causes the strand effect. Looks cool, but it doesn't actually seem to do anything. And he's fine, and then he just drops dead. So that could be the rocket killing him. That could be anything killing him. I don't know. So either this is a legendary rocket that just showed off, or this is an exotic, but I don't know what it does. It just looks like, it doesn't look like it does anything. So I think it's just a really cool looking strand rocket. I don't know. It kind of reminds me of Braytech tech. So I don't know. We'll see. As a whole, very interesting. There is some cool things here. Like I said, we point out some cool things. I did go a little bit of a rant explaining what I was talking about yesterday, made it better. But as a whole, there's some cool stuff here. Okay, we've got this thing where it shows the train running him over, which is quite trippy. Dude got smashed, and seems to be splitting into his own personality and existence. I remember there's a type of thing that's called this. There was a Star Trek episode, I think, that had this long time ago, an old one. But it's like reality splitting or something. Maybe it wasn't Star Trek. It was a sci-fi movie. God, there's so many sci-fi movies. It's so hard to keep up with the old ones now. But it's so basically when the train hit him, he went through a portal because it either opened or was created somehow with there, and it caused his being to rip apart. Or not rip apart, sorry, come together. So multiple realities at once try to like go through at once, and because that happened, it caused this effect. I don't know what it's called. There's a name for it. Someone will know. Some nerd will know. I don't remember. And then it seems he falls through water, but it's not water. It's clouds, but it kind of acts like water. It's really trippy. I don't know what that's about. And then we have a city on fire, and it looks like a Superman rising. Look at him. He's like rising up like someone's kidnapping him, like an alien ship's kidnapping him. Or it's Superman rising and the city's getting destroyed. It's fucking hilarious. So I don't know, maybe it's Clark Kent. Maybe we got some Clark Kent Superman thing here going on. I don't know. If you didn't notice though, these are pyramid ships in the background destroying the city. I do not know if this is Earth, or if since Star Wars is supposed to be the ideology for the future of for the Renegade thing, I figure they're probably teeing him up since they said he's from somewhere else entirely. I feel like he's not from Earth. I feel like he's from a galaxy far, far away. So hence the Star Wars reference and stuff that'll happen in the second DLC, or whatever they want to call it. So I assume that's what's going on here, is the pyramid ships attacked their point either in another universe or in this universe, but it was one of the universes they destroyed, or one of the things the pyramids destroyed before they got here. I don't know. And maybe they created a rift or something to escape. I'm not really sure, like I said. It is very interesting, though. He's rising up. I don't know. We don't even know if this is the same guy. This could be someone else completely different. I don't know. All I know is somebody's rising up here. And this is definitely a city that you would expect. This looks like the Empire State Building, sort of. Not the Empire State Building, like the same style of building, sort of. So, it's very intriguing on that case. At the same time, this actually, I stand corrected, this is a normal skyscraper. This is the part, yeah, this is part of this part, and this crushed this and then caused this to topple over. So I don't know what that is like then. These are like two different types of skyscrapers. This is like a top of the Empire State Building style, but not as a whole, and then this is like a normal skyscraper you see. So, I don't know, as a whole, it is cool. There's cool parts to it. I'm not saying there's not. My problem is the advertisement. That is my big problem with it, is how they're advertising it. And if there is artifacts, or not artifacts, sorry, if there is aspects and fragments, or just aspects even they are planning to add, or new supers, they didn't talk about them even slightly. And they didn't show any of them off. So, as far as you know, as an audience, there is nothing new to the game ability-wise. No adjustment, no change, nothing. As in change, I mean something new. And adjustment, I mean something new. New aspect-wise is adjustment, and then change would be a new element or new supers or something. That's how I view that, personally, or new grenades or melees. As far as you know as the consumer, there is nothing new in the aspect or super department or element department. That is my problem. It is a new saga. It should have something new. But as a whole, this was trying to be a positive video. I'm just making that clear. Maybe the little people understand it a little better. Because, again, I was ranting yesterday. Today is a little bit more filed. But yeah, anyways, if you enjoyed the video, like, subscribe, leave a comment what you think. If you think this is pretty cool, let me know. I don't mind. If you like it, waste your money on it. I personally am not really planning to. The only thing that's really got me is this hand cannon. This hand cannon's really got me interested. But personally, I don't really want to pay $100 for a hand cannon. But at the same time, this is a dope-ass fucking hand cannon, so I don't know, man. I might waste it purely to get this hand cannon. I hate I'm saying it because it makes me feel like shit. But at the same time, it does look fucking cool. and I'm a sucker for weapons. That is my main play in the game, is abilities and weapons, and these damn weapons look cool. So, damn, Bungie, if you make me spend $100 for a single weapon, but it wouldn't be the first time. I won't lie. But, anyways, enjoy the video, like, subscribe, comment what you think. Thanks for watching. Adios. We out.